Small. Come on, put your hands together again for Mr. Orlando Small, the very talented young man. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you for playing what I know is one of our Prime Minister's favorite songs, because we've seen the tapes, sir. We've seen you singing. Well, you did a good job. You did a good job. I think Bob would be pleased. I think Bob would be pleased, even as we celebrate the belated birthday of our icon, Robert Nesta Marley. His birthday was just yesterday. And I do believe our Prime Minister, at another opening event in St. Thomas, was on the microphone singing another song from Bob. We're not sure if he will bless us with another song today. Maybe the Prime Minister is all sung out. But it's still Reggae Month, sir. I think you have a few tunes left in you. But I know that one of the praises you will be singing this afternoon is this development. And we're very happy to have your endorsement of it, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as we welcome to the podium at this time our keynote address from the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, ONPC MP, Prime Minister of Jamaica.
Thank you, Debbie. And don't worry, I promise, if you give me your attention for 25 minutes, I'm seeing somebody say 10 minutes, 10 minutes. All right, there's a lot to say. So permit me then to forego the formalities because you have all been bigged up already. So if I say nice and decent people, good to see you all, that's good enough, right? Today is a momentous occasion as we gather here to celebrate the groundbreaking ceremony of the Portmore Promenade, a project that holds immense promise and potential for this community within the Greater Bernard Lodge development. The Greater Bernard Lodge development is a visionary endeavor aimed at accommodating the future population growth in the Kingston metropolitan area, while fostering sustainable integrated townships. The development, that is the Bernard Lodge development, spans over 5,397 acres of land. This development allocates significant acreage for agriculture, residential, commercial, light industrial, mixed use, and social facilities. One of the key highlights of this development is the enhancement of agricultural opportunities. We are increasing agricultural leases, creating new subdivisions for agriculture, providing rental concessions to relocated farmers, and equipping them with state-of-the-art technology. This commitment to agriculture will not only support our farmers, but also ensure food security for our growing community. I know that a narrative has been carried that we are substituting agricultural land for housing. Right in this audience is Mr. Gazanazan, who has more than just a passing acquaintance with this entire area and with agriculture in the area, because he has a development which brings modern agriculture to the area. When we conceptualized the Bernard Lodge development, we knew that there would be significant objection to the use of the land. And therefore we ensured that the development here encompasses both the agricultural potential, but also the other potentials for development. And so what you're seeing being developed within Portmore, this new parish that is being birthed before your very eyes, is both commercial, residential, mixed use, light industrial, but also agricultural. Not just traditional agriculture, but also modern and industrial type agriculture is being developed. So it is a mischaracterization of this development that it is exclusively residential. No, you're going to have a very well-rounded development in Bernard Lodge. So we are preserving agriculture in Bernard Lodge in a big way. And what we want to do, by the way, in Bernard Lodge is not just to pursue traditional agriculture. We want to see more technology infused in agriculture. So the work that is being done by Gazan's outfit with Gazan, how you describe your farms now? It is greenhouses and well-planned, well-structured hydroponics, all kinds of things you're doing there. We want to encourage more high-technology farming in the area. The infrastructure upgrades, including water, electricity, sewage, and road systems, will further enhance the quality of life in the area, making it more accessible and sustainable. We are also making it a priority for the relocation and formalization of farmers and informal settlers. Spend a little time on that. In any development, the occupiers of the land may not always be in the optimum place. And therefore, especially if you do a master plan which optimizes the use of the land, inevitably you're going to have to relocate persons. But that relocation must be done in a fair and equitable way, recognizing rights and obligations. And so we have made sure that whatever we do in terms of relocation of existing farmers and informal settlers, that it is fair and equitable. The Greater Bernard Lodge project aspires to create an ideal community where residents can enjoy a high standard of living, sound environmental management, and affordable quality of housing, thereby fostering sustainable economic growth and development. What is fundamentally different about the Bernard Lodge project is that the entire project was pre-planned. Developments in Jamaica have happened, and I will describe it in the most euphemistic terms. They have happened organically. There's no planning. And where there is planning, it has happened in silos. So somebody acquires some land, and they say, I want to build a plaza. And they plan for a plaza. The municipal authority approves the plaza. No real thought about water supply, roads, internet connectivity, sewage, water runoff, and how that is going to be treated with. And you can see that level of disconnected planning right across Jamaica. It gives you a feel of chaka-chakaness, if I could Jamaicanize the term. You understand what I mean when I say that? So the Bernard Lodge project started because when this administration came in, we said, we are for development. And it sparked an interest in persons trying to get access to land to build houses. And the Bernard Lodge lands were an excellent piece of real estate to acquire. And so there was almost a rush to get land from the sugar holding company, SCJ Holdings, in Bernard Lodge. And I said, you know what? I could not sit by and allow another incremental, disjointed development to take place. And we stopped it. And we said all the lands in Bernard Lodge must be part of a master plan. And the government took up the cost, hired professional planners, and we did an entire master plan to incorporate the land's prime usage, which was agriculture. So we did not master plan out agriculture. We incorporated agriculture in a big way in the plan. Now, because there is a plan, it has increased the level of interest, but it has also increased the caliber of development that is being attracted to the area. I wanted to think about this project. I don't want to go into too much details because you have already done so. But this project is going to be over several years. It is a multi-phase project. And I'm seeing many multi-phase projects being done. Now, many of you here in the audience are business people. And you understand that if you're going into a multi-phase project, you are taking on quite a bit of risk. Shorter the project, the lower the risk. And especially for banks, they want to be sure about risk. They don't want to put depositors' monies in problems. So they want to see their way out of the project very quickly. So many of the projects that we go into, 1 year, 2 years, most, because there is an impatience of capital because you don't want to expose your capital to risks. Now, there are many risks that businesses have to deal with. There could be some heavy rains. The sea could come in heavily as it is doing now in Montego Bay and destroying properties along the coast. It has not to do with us really. That's, you know, some people say it's climate change, some people say it's weather variability. It's an event that government has no control over really. It's the weather. You know, it's what we describe as an exogenous shock. We have nothing to do with it. But if an investor had invested, that's a risk that he has taken, which he will have to totally absorb. Of course, government will have to look about the revetments and so forth, but that's a risk of business. And then you have risks to do with geopolitical events. A war could start, ships can't go through various channels, the products that you depend on don't get here on time, affects your business. You have to plan for that. But the risks that business people are most afraid of are political risks, government risks. Because a change in government policy, overnight, unexpected, can ruin a business. So you put out your 5-year plan and you budget, this is what I'll pay in taxes. You know, this is the government policy in terms of approvals. This is what the government said they're going to spend. And then 2 years, the government change its policy. Not even that governments change, but usually when governments change, policies change too. And that creates a problem. That creates a risk. And if your outlook as a business person is that, I really can't take a long-term risk because things may change, then if I invest, I want to invest short-term to get my returns right away. So capital is not patient. But what we're seeing happening in Jamaica, because the government has demonstrated fiscal discipline, taxes can be stable, you can know what the interest rates are going to be, you can rest assured about government's management of inflation. you begin now to say, maybe as business people, I can start thinking about longer term investment. I can be a little bit more patient with my capital deployment. And in fact, I can plan for greater capital deployment. So when people are saying, well, what has changed in Jamaica? We hear all the quarrels about water, light, all kinds of issues. They miss the point. Even people who should know better, when I hear the conversations, Jamaica today is not the Jamaica of 10 years ago. Yes, the same problems about road and water and garbage collections, those problems predate this administration, going all the way back to independence. But the only way we solve them, people, is to have an economy that works. And that is what has changed in Jamaica. That is what has changed in Jamaica. So all of you who want to undermine, undervalue the economic progress that has been made, people overseas see it and are amazed, and they write brilliant articles about it, and we here in Jamaica, we don't get it yet. The message hasn't reached us yet. We must value that economic turnaround. And what I call the political economy needs to change to hold the government to account for that. How our political economy works is that we want to hold governments to account for road and water. You've been trying to do that for 50 years and you still don't get change in road and water. The only way you're going to get change in road and water is to hold the government to account for the economy. Because it is when the economy does better that the government has more resources to spend. So, forgive me, Chris, for taking your class, your launch here to turn it into an economics and political class. But it's very important that this message gets through to the average man on the street that your problems can't be solved unless the economy does well. Now, how does GDP growth translate into my household growth? How does GDP growth mean more food in my pot? Yes, the issue of equity and fairness. That as the economy grows, the government must look out for the people and make sure that the increased dividends of economic performance is properly shared. And that's what this government is about. We are about creating what we call the caring economy. Now, I wanted to say just a little bit about what economic growth looks like. What does it mean when we say we have a growing economy? Now, I've been feverishly breaking ground, opening things, handing over, and people say, well, it's election time. I've been doing that long before. I can go back and show you clip after clip for the last 4 or 5 years. Almost every week, something is happening. Something new is happening. A new investment is being made. But when you see the economic growth figures come, you see 1.8, 2, I think we had 5 at one point in time. And you say, but all of these new investments are happening and it's not moving the clock to 10 and 12 like what we see in China and other countries. Why is that so? Well, stop and think about it for just a minute. If you weren't growing for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, the capital that you have in the country, meaning all your buildings, your factories, all of that investment that was there, your roads, all of those things, what do you think would happen to them? They depreciate. Some of them lose value and become obsolete. So if you look at the net of the new investment coming in versus things that are becoming obsolete, depreciated, of no value, then you begin to get an appreciation that the rate of how we are investing needs to increase double time than what we are doing now. So I'm saying that the economy is doing well, but the economy needs to do much better. What Sagicor is doing here is laudable, but we need Sagicor to do 10 times more what they're doing. That's the reality. If we are going to catch up for the decades that we have lost, that's the reality, Jamaicans, friends, family. That's the reality. If we're going to catch up, we need to be working much harder than we are now. And that is the whole issue of productivity. We need to increase our productivity as a people, as a country. So, I could not come here and not respond to my friend Fitz. All right, so Fitz comes up here and Fitz says, technically, where we are is in St. Catherine. Yes, of course, we're in St. Catherine. All of it, no. But then he goes on to say, technically, you are in Portmore, though, the Portmore municipality, because this area really relates more to Portmore. Thank you for making the point. Thank you for making the point. As I said before, I am not the one who said that Portmore should be a parish. The day that that administration realized that Portmore was developing its own character, its own economic profile, its own ethos and mentality, its own cleavages, to the point where they realized it needed its own local government. And they decided to give it a municipality, which was not a clear resolution of the issue. Because, as he said, we're not quite sure where it is. So you really need to establish proper boundaries. But more than that, the Portmore councillors sit in the Spanish Town municipality. They have no business with Spanish Town and the rest of St. Catherine. They vote on Spanish Town and St. Catherine issues, but the St. Catherine municipal representatives, councillors, can't sit in the Portmore municipality or have any say. And so when the decision is being discussed about Portmore becoming a parish, it is not only about the people of Portmore deciding whether or not they should be a parish, it is also the rest of St. Catherine that is saying, how come you have your own thing over there, but yet you're deciding on our things here? It's a kind of confusing situation. So, it is not that we have gotten up and said, oh, this would make great political sense to make Portmore a parish. That's not the issue. The issue is that political administration needs to be resolved by properly defining the unit of government. And it is not just Portmore where we see that happening. It is also a situation emerging with Negril, because Negril has evolved to overlap two parishes. And so you have issues happening where you have one municipality saying, well, that's not my problem, and the other one saying, well, it's not my problem. And so how are these issues going to be resolved? We are going to have to define that properly. So we are at that point. Now, I know many Jamaicans are wedded to leaving things as they are, but things change. The British, at one time, we had 22 parishes, and then they realized that, no, we have to structure this, and they changed it. As we go to express our own independence and move towards establishing government as we want it, it means that we are going to have to address these things, and it is not political. Which is why, because I saw the attempt to make it political, I say, you know what, let's not have this during the local government election. We'll deal with it afterwards. It is of no political interest to me. It is purely the efficient administration of public affairs. There's one principle, my dear Fitz, and I won't bring in the two mayors who are my friends as well. There's a principle called subsidiarity. Very important principle in religion, particularly people who are of the Catholic faith will understand it immediately. And that principle of subsidiarity essentially says that if there is a superior power and an inferior power, and I'm using those two words not in any derogatory way, means that there is a higher power and a power that is subjugated to it. And the inferior power is able to do things for itself, then the superior power should allow them to do it. That is a very important principle for the evolution of government. So for example, if Portmore can treat with its own issues of, let's say, building approvals, so that Portmore evolves in the way that the citizens of Portmore want it to evolve, then the central government really shouldn't get involved in that. And that is how you have diversity emerging in countries, where local governments are able to express the will of the people in their locality. That's the fundamental principle that is at work here. That the people of Portmore, they might not be consciously doing it, but subconsciously that's what is happening. They are expressing themselves in how they want the community to look, the services they want, how they want to be defined and characterized, and they need a government at a local level that has not to do with sovereignty, which those issues now you call central government issues. These are local government issues that expresses that. And that's all we are doing. It might sound a little bit complex and highfalutin, but after the local government campaign, Mayor Thomas, I will be in your parish of Portmore intensely working and explaining it to the people so that they understand and appreciate what we are saying. Not everything, my friends, are political. Not everything is political. Some things, it's just the normal course of the evolution of the country. And Jamaica is changing day by day. And you need a government that understands it. So, as I tell you, look, I don't deal with small p. I don't deal with that. I deal with the big picture. All right? So let's keep it big picture. No. Yes, the big picture. So we are now here at Sagicor's very proud moment, which I again apologize for, because these things, it's important. But it gives me great pleasure to commend Sagicor for believing in Jamaica, because this is not the only development that you have. You have several developments going on. I want to commend Sagicor. I know there are other developers, other investors in the room, and I want to personally take this opportunity to thank you for the investments that you are making and to encourage you, to give you that confidence that government policy and government administration is stable and improving, and that you should have the confidence to make even more investment. As much as we believe, as I said, that this is wonderful, this is just a drop in the bucket of investments that are needed to truly make Jamaica a rapidly growing country. But we are now at an inflection point. That is the point at which the pace of change changes rapidly. That is where we are. We don't want to disturb that. We don't want to change good government. Let me say that. We don't want to change good government. We want to keep the change that is happening, that rapid increase in development. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have been a lovely audience. Thank you so much for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we put our hands together again, please, for our keynote address from the Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Thank you so much, sir, for being here with us this afternoon and for giving us that masterclass on economics and more. We thank you for your endorsement of the new Portmore Promenade and also for underscoring your commitment to growth and for providing the ideal climate for investment in Jamaica, because indeed we have come a far way. And we do have some ways to go still so that we can continue to make Jamaica the place to live, work, raise families, do business, and retire in. And indeed, we take your challenge to increase productivity and focus on the big picture. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we are about at the end of the proceedings, so we invite to give us the vote of thanks, Mrs. Donette Scarlett, Senior Vice President, Group Treasury and Asset Management. Please make her welcome.
Oops, I don't want the paper to blow. Okay, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good afternoon. Please allow me to use the protocols that have already been established this afternoon. Yet, let me acknowledge the presence of the Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. On behalf of the Sagicor Group, Jamaica's President and CEO, Christopher Zaka, and the entire Sagicor team, allow me to express our gratitude for your presence here today. Today, we gathered to unveil a leading-edge project, as well as use this opportunity to recognize and thank those whose unwavering support and collaboration have brought us to this tremendous, transformative juncture. A special note of gratitude goes to all our guests who have taken the time to grace us with their presence, but especially our Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, His Worship Norman Scott, Mayor of Spanish Town, Mayor of Portmore, His Worship Leon Thomas, Member of Parliament for St. Catherine South, Fitz Jackson, and Councillor for the Greater Portmore North Division, Gary Nicholson. Your vision and dedication to the development of Jamaica have been instrumental in driving progress and building a brighter future for generations to come. Your attendance here today shows all of Jamaica that together we can achieve great things. I also extend our acknowledgement and appreciation to Chairman of the Board of Directors of Sagicor Group Jamaica, Peter Meledo, and the members of the Sagicor boards whose support we count on as we play our part in not just being Sagicor strong, but in achieving our ultimate goal of being Jamaica strong. Allow me to also acknowledge and thank the members of the media who have joined us today. Without you, all that we do would not be visible to Jamaica, and we remain grateful for your support. As we embark on this journey towards a vibrant, sustainable, and connected community, let us carry forward the spirit of collaboration and shared vision that has brought us to this point. The success of this project is a testament to the collective efforts of individuals and organizations dedicated to the betterment of our community and country. In conclusion, let us collectively leave with a posture of gratitude to the leaders, collaborators, and supporters, and most importantly, to the residents and to those who will work, live, and play in this newly formed zone. We are excited to witness the positive impact this endeavor will have on the Greater Bernard Lodge area. And most of all, we are excited about seeing you again soon, because there's much more ahead from Sagicor Group, and so many great celebrations we will have as well. As one Jamaica, one people, build this prosperous nation. Thank you, and let the journey towards a thriving community begin.
beauty today. Take those pictures, take those pictures. Oh, you want a retake? Oh, here we want a retake, just to make sure we did it properly. That's wrong. Are we gonna do another one?